Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Tonight we are testing all the different things that we can put infusible ink on the Great Maker Show and Tell. All right, so Cricut has a number of official blanks, that's what they call them. So there are things like the coasters, and you can see the seal right here that tells us it's an official blank that we can put infusible ink on, as well as things like the t-shirt. This is the baby bodysuit, and a tote bag, right? But if you're anything like me, you have big dreams and you want to do other things besides t-shirts and coasters and t-shirt or tote bags, right? You want to do other things. So tonight we are talking about other things that we can possibly put infusible ink on. So I'm really excited to do this and excited to show you. Hi everybody, I'm so happy to see you here. Thank you guys. And so I have 14 different things that I'll be showing you tonight. Here is a few of them right here. So this isn't all of them. So here we have a puzzle, which I think is really cool. This is a makeup bag. This is a tube sock. Yeah, that's a tube sock because why not, right? This is a sequined pillowcase. This is actually the reversible kind. Don't you just love that? This is actually a rose gold one. Microfiber pillowcases, a garden flag, a can coolie, a keychain, and a bunch of other things. So we're going to talk about them and we're going to see whether they work. Now, I'm not going to make you sit here and listen and watch me test each one of these 14 things. And we would be here all night. So I've actually done them in advance and I will show you how they worked out so that you can decide if it's something that you want to do or not. And I actually have a whole blog post over on my blog at jennifermaker.com that lists everything that we're doing tonight and has the link to exactly where I got it. Like I got this one on Amazon, right? And in fact, I want to talk about that, like how I figured out what we could test with. So these are all this. A lot of these things here are sublimation blanks because Cricut Infusible Ink is a form, a user-friendly form of sublimation ink technology. So therefore, all I had to do was go looking for sublimation blanks. And I found all of these really cool things on Amazon. They don't cost very much. And there's like tons of them. There's more than I have gotten even. But I think I got to get a pretty good selection of things. So that's how I figured out what to use. That said, I also tried some other things. For example, this is from Wal-Mart. This is a microfiber pillowcase. But this microfiber pillowcase is made of polyester. And polyester is the key here, either polyester or polymer coating, which I believe that like this is clearly not polyester. It's got to have some kind of coating on it, right? So those are the two things that the infusible ink can actually bind to, and that's what we're looking for when we want to determine if something is going to work. And the more polyester or polymer coating it has, the better it will work. And you're going to see things tonight that definitely worked and things that definitely didn't. So, all right, so this is a garden flag, the kind that you'd put out like on a little stake in your garden, right? It's got a channel at the top and it's one-sided, right? And it's, it almost feels like some kind of combination of nylon and polyester, but clearly it's going to be polyester because pretty sure it's what this is. So this is how it turned out. So this is infusible ink on the garden flag, which I think looks pretty awesome. I mean, this actually, I dropped it on the ground, so ignore the little spots here. That's just dirt. This looks really good and really vibrant. The only issue I see here is like here and here, there's just a little bit of fading. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to show it to you so that you can see. See, just a little bit of fading. It's hard to say what caused that. It could have been user error. I was doing these very quickly yesterday. It could have been that I didn't have all the moisture out. We always need to press these first, and I think I did, but I don't know. But there's just a little inconsistency there. you may or may not get this. And that's the thing about using a non-Cricut Infusible Ink blank. Cricut's not going to guarantee that they work on these things with their transfer sheets. But we can still play with them and make really cool things. And I don't even care that it looks like this because I think this looks super awesome. Now I see a question from someone who asked, can we use this on dark fabrics, on dark things? And we can't, because the Cricut Infusible Ink is transparent. It's not opaque. So if we were to put this design on a black shirt, you might expect to see the colors, right? But you wouldn't, because it's transparent. And what happens when you put a transparent color on top of black? You get black. Okay, so it doesn't work on dark things, but it does work on pastels. You're going to have the best results on something that's nice and bright white like this, because it's going to make everything just pop. But you can use it on pastels. Let me show you that. In fact, I'll just skip to that one. So, oh, somebody asked what kind of material this is. So I believe that this is 100% polyester. So I'm not positive. Someone on my team should please post the link to the garden flag, and then you can actually go and see exactly what I got, and you can check the materials. But for I'm pretty sure that this is 100% polyester. Okay. All right. They might have already linked it. I don't know. I'm not watching the comments as well as I probably ought to. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yes. So let's talk about colors. So I'm going to turn it over. This is a backpack I got from Walmart a couple days ago. We went on Sunday and got a bunch of stuff. This is it said it was a polyester, that this part was polyester. So I thought, why not? Let's try it. Actually, it was Greg's idea. He gets full credit for doing this. So we actually, because it was a pink backpack, we asked my daughter to design something for it to put onto it, not knowing if it would work. And she was totally okay with that. But this is what we got. So you can see that this is a pretty light color. And we can see the black, and we can see the pink, and this is red. So we can see the red as well. It's perhaps not quite as vibrant as you would see on white. It doesn't stand out, but she's really happy with it. So yeah, I think this looks really good. Now we see a question from Laura that says, will this video be on YouTube? Yes, it will. It's possible there might be a delay just because I'm about to travel to Charlotte, North Carolina. So I don't know if it'll be on this evening or tomorrow. But it will definitely be on YouTube. And my videos are always available for replay on the Facebook page itself. So awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for letting everybody know. Okay. Yes. So Kathy asked, I'm curious how long you preheated and pressed each item, please. And that's a great question. So let me pull up. I have my blog post because I made notes on all of this already. And I know somebody can link in my blog post so that everybody can see it, but I want to let you guys know here on the video as well. So I'm going to bring that up right now because I went through and I made notes about every single thing that we're doing tonight, exactly what temperature I pressed it at and how long I did it for. So for the garden flag, which is where did I put the garden flag? Here. The garden flag, which is this one, I pressed this at 385 degrees for 40 seconds. Now I was using my Easy Press 2. You don't have to use the Easy Press 2. You could use the original Easy Press, and its maximum temperature is 360. If you do it 360, you're going to want to go a little higher, a little longer. Okay, just add maybe 20% longer. But that's what I did. So I've got the temperature I'm pressing for every single thing that I did on tonight's video over on my blog post. Okay. This backpack, let's see what I did that one at. This one, I did 385 degrees for 40 seconds. And the way that I came up with this number, obviously I didn't test a whole bunch and decide which one was best. I only had one backpack. As I looked at Cricut's Heat Press, Easy Press guide at, what they recommend for like tote bags and stuff. So this seemed like tote bag material. So I picked that one. So that's basically how I did that, just so you know. All right, so that is the pink tote bag. All right, so let's do the puzzle next. So here is the puzzle. I think this is so cool. Some of you might remember that I have a whole tutorial on how to cut a photo puzzle on your Cricut. And what I like about this is that for those people who don't have a Cricut that can cut, the chipboard, because that comes up fairly frequently in our Facebook group. This is now an option, okay? So let me tell you what I did with this one. So that was the puzzle. And I did this at 360 degrees for 90 seconds. And this is what it looked like. Isn't this awesome? This pattern here is the wildflower. So it's this one here. So you can see how really similar this is, right? And I think that I don't know, I'm really happy. It's really vibrant. And this would be a very difficult puzzle to put together because of all of the, whatever. It looks great. Doesn't this look like fun? Yes. So someone is saying that you need me to speak louder. I think I'm speaking as loud as I can. I've got the volume up as high as I can. I will do my best to speak even louder. Okay, let me know if this helps at all. So anyways, so this is the puzzle. Now this is made of cardboard. Here's the back of it. This is obviously cardboard. So it must have some kind of polymer coating on it to give it, it's really shiny as you can see. So it must have some kind of polymer or some kind of coating on it that allows the infusible ink to actually transfer to it. I don't know what it is though. I just know it's awesome. Okay. Oh, you guys can hear me fine. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. So that's the puzzle. I think that's really cool. Okay. All right, next, let's do the mouse pad. Did I get a mouse pad out? I think I did. Is the mouse pad sitting over there in the corner? No? Okay, then I'll move on to another one and Greg can look for the mouse pad. Okay, let's talk about the pillowcase. Greg, the mouse pad, everything is in my mandala bag right there. Thank you. Okay, so, oh yes, I should show you this first. So this is a microfiber pillowcase that I got from Wal-Mart. I actually love microfiber pillowcases because they don't pick up any moisture. I use them every year when I go camping. They're super soft and comfortable. So I actually really highly recommend these. I get them every year. And, but I looked at them and I noticed that the material says 100% polyester. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe this would work. So this is what we got. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? So there's my name down at the bottom. So it actually transferred really, really well. It's very vibrant. And red is a hard one to transfer, in my opinion, because red is always a tricky color. But so this looks really good. And these are really inexpensive from Walmart. So they're just in their bedding section. You just got to make sure it says microfiber, and on the back it says 100% polyester microfiber. Okay? So this is really cool. Now, I saw a question from someone that said, are you going to show the full process? So if you guys would like to see that, because I have done a lot of videos about this so far, I do not want to bore you. If you guys want to see me do this, I can show this one here at the end, okay? So if you would like to see me actually put one together, let me know in the comments, and I would be happy to do that for you. Okay, so this is the pillowcase, and I thought this worked out really well. All right, so let's do the mouse pad. So I got these mouse pads off of Amazon. They're just like little foam things, right? With some kind of coating here. And I don't know what, there's probably something on it that's going to allow us to do this. So just a mouse pad, you know, for those of us who still use them. So this is what it looked like. So it didn't transfer as well. You can see it's not as vibrant. Let me compare it to the pillowcase because I think that's helpful to see. So the pillowcase is definitely more vibrant than this mouse pad is, but still pretty awesome. I would still consider this a good transfer. There's a little bit of this, you know, it's kind of a little bit lighter down here at the bottom, but you know, it depends on the purpose of, you know, who's getting it. I still really liked it. So, you know, yeah. So, okay. So you guys want to see the whole process? Okay, cool. And I thought I saw another question. I'm going to switch over to our questions, our live questions here in case I missed any. So Cindy Anthony asks, have any of these blanks been washed since you've done them? I'm anxious to see how they do. No, they have not, because I literally just did them either yesterday or today, so I haven't had a chance. But as always, I will go ahead and so the ones that can be washed, because obviously we're not washing this one. I will wash the ones that we can wash, and I will let you guys know in the Facebook group how they turned out, what they look like. I feel actually really confident that this is going to wash really well, though. Okay, so that was the mouse pad. And then we have another question here from Linda that says, do you have to wash items first? No, you don't. I'm not seeing any advice to wash the items first. So how about the coolie? Oh, yeah. So there was a heat. Someone asked about the heat setting on the pillowcase. Sorry. Okay. Yes. The heat setting on the pillowcase is 385 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 seconds. That's what I did it at. So it's basically the same as a t-shirt because this is like, it feels like a t-shirt. So that's why I picked that. And that looks really good, doesn't it? Yeah. So 385 for 40 seconds. And again, all of the times and press durations are noted in my blog post. So you guys do not have to make notes. You can just go to the blog post and see exactly how I did this, as well as other notes. Like, because there's like when we do the sequin one, that's a little bit, you know, it's not, maybe not as obvious as you might think. So let's see. Sue says, can you use regular sublimation paper with the pens instead of laser paper? I don't know. I don't have sublimation paper. I've never done sublimation printing, so I am coming at this from the standpoint of a Cricut fan who is using Infusible Inks, and that's it. I know there's really awesome sublimation ink printers and technology and cool things that you can do, but I've never done them. So, sorry. All right. So how about the drink coolie? Drink coolie? Cozy? Koozie? I don't know what they're called. The things that you put drinks in. I have like a little, I have a bottle of water. We can stick a bottle of water. So it's like this, right? And you put them around your water. Usually it's a can of something, but the idea is, I guess the idea is that it keeps it colder longer, right? Yeah, so I got some of these blanks as well. So let me show you how they turned out. So this is the result. So this looks really good. It transferred very evenly. And I pressed this one for at 385 degrees for 40 seconds. So I'm really pleased with that. I think that looks really good. You call them stubby coolers in Australia. What does stubby mean in Australia? I've never heard that term. Stubby cooler. Is that like the name for a soda can? A cozy? Yeah, I haven't come up with a good name. Like on Amazon, they call them coolies. But I've heard other people call them like koozies or cozies. I don't know, whatever. Okay. Anyways, these were really cool. These would be fun to make for like a party or something. I think that would be really cool. Oh, it's okay. So stubby is the Australian word for a beer. Well, there we go. Learn something new every day. Okay. So that was the stubby cooler. I wonder why they call them stubbies. That's a funny name. Okay. So how about the keychain? Where is the little keychain? Do you see that? The little, oh, here it is. Okay. So this little beauty. So this is, it says it's leather. It feels like leather, but it's definitely got some kind of coating on it. You can see that it's shiny, right? So it's double-sided. They had different ones. This is the one I picked. So this one actually really surprised me. I was really expecting it to be a problem because, I mean, they said it's leather. I mean, that sounds like it would be weird. But this is what I got. Let me see if I can hold these up for you. So look at this. Look how vibrant that is. It turned out really, really good. So I was so happy with it. And you could do both sides if you wanted. And like a lot of these blanks, they come in like packs. So you don't buy just one magnet, you buy several. And I think these would be really cool gifts. Or, you know, if you're making bags, you can put them on the bags. They come with the little silver, let me see if I have one sitting here. Yes, right here. They come with the little keychain itself, right? So this is really cool. Okay, so Francis says, I missed the beginning. Where are the blanks from? So the blanks are from different places. So I know my team is putting the links to where I found various things from. These came from Amazon, The these came from Amazon. These came from Walmart. So mostly I went to Walmart and I looked for a bunch of things, including t-shirts. Yes, guys, I got a lot of t-shirts. Like like I'm sure the person thought I was crazy and I was checking out. But I also went to Amazon and I looked for sublimation blanks that we could use for this. So and then I tried some stuff I found from Michael's. So I just looked for various things that I thought might work. All right, and then did I tell you guys what the keychain was? I don't. It's 375 degrees for 65 seconds. So, and I think this is really pretty. It's really shiny. I like this. You see how shiny that is? It's really cool. Okay, so Verla says, can you use this on cork? I've never tried. I've never tried cork, but I suspect not. It's not. It's good. I think it's going to be too porous, and it's not going to work out. That's my gut feeling, though, and that's also based on some things I'll be showing you later too. Okay, so let's see. Let's do the tube sock. You guys probably think I'm really crazy. But like I found these sublimation blank tube socks, and I don't know, it just seemed like fun. Like I don't know, for like Christmas or something to make someone some socks. People make Christmas socks, right? So I tried it. This is from Amazon too, by the way, and this is what I got. Look how nice that is. That's really, really, it really transferred really well. So that worked great. Now I wouldn't say that these are the best quality tube socks, but you know, if you just, it's like a gift or a novelty item rather than actual functional socks, I think it's still probably fine. So, all right. So the tube socks, yeah. Okay, and the tube socks I did at, let's see, I did those at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the maximum that the Easy Press 2 can go up to. And I did them for 90 seconds. So if you were to use an original Easy Press, you would want to go a little longer, maybe 120 seconds. One thing I do want to note when you press these, like especially like I've been doubling up on my butcher paper because I've seen a lot of scorching going on and I do not want my stuff scorched. And I'm finding that doubling up on butcher paper is helping a bit with that, just as a little tip. So yeah, so that works really well. And you can see it did not bleed through the back at all. So that worked out. Those look really nice. So, so Madeline says, so this is a type of sublimation ink. So yes, Infusible Ink. And it comes in transfer sheets as well as the pens, which I have right here. So these are the pens. So Infusible Ink comes in transfer sheets of various colors and patterns, as well as pens and markers. And we don't print this ourselves. We don't have to have a sublimation ink printer. Instead, all we have to do is cut it out or draw it on a piece of copy paper, and then we can transfer it to our things. It is a lower bar entry to sublimation ink printing is how I think of it. It's for those of us who want to make a project like this once in a while without investing in a sublimation ink printer. So that's how I see it. Okay, and so Darlene asks, what is sublimation ink? Sublimation ink is a kind of, I don't have a sublimation ink printer myself, but my understanding is it's the kind of ink that will actually, when heated, turns into gas, goes into a material, and then when it solidifies, it becomes a solid and it becomes something like this. So this is essentially sublimation ink, but they put it onto transfer sheets for us with a really good carrier sheet already like attached to it, so that those of us who don't want to get the printer can still do cool things like this. And the advantage of Infusible Ink is that there's no seams. You can stretch it like this and it goes right back to looking amazing, right? So let me show you that so you can see. So we can stretch this sock out and you can see how, it kind of separates and stuff. When we put it back, it goes back. And you can wash it over and over and over, and it's not going to fade, and it's not going to crack, and it's not going to peel off the way vinyl might. So this is a way to personalize items that are have a high polyester count or high polymer coating, because that's what you need for sublimation ink or infusible ink technology. So that's how that works. All right, so that was a tube socks. Let's see. We have this makeup bag. I got this makeup bag on Amazon as a sublimation blank. It's just got, see, it's got like a rose gold zipper. Isn't that pretty? I got this, yep, on Amazon, and this is what it looks like after I transferred it. So it did a great job. And one of the other things I look for as to whether I'm looking at how vibrant the transfer is, but also I'm looking at whether it scorches it or not. I've been watching people's postings and stuff because I'm seeing that some materials just don't like the heat and they get like a yellowish hue to them, and some people might be fine with that. I am not one of those people. Melissa said, did you put something inside the sock to keep the ink from bleeding through to the other side? So let me bring that sock out again. So I did not, Melissa. I just put it flat down on my mat. I'll get my mat out to show you. So here is my mat, and I just put it flat. Well, I had my piece of paper here. I'll show you. There's my piece of paper. And there's my sock. We'll do this one. And then I covered it with my butcher paper, and then I pressed it. So there was nothing inside of it. This is very flat. It's like it's good to go. So that's not true of everything though. Some of the things that are have like zippers and stuff, I have been putting things in. Like I have my small easy press mat, and I've been putting them inside. For example, when I did this one. So this is the makeup bag. I actually put it inside here like this, and then I put a piece of cardstock on top so that it wouldn't bleed through to the other side because I didn't want that. So, and you guys might notice that I'm not showing you the other side of my little mat. You want to know why? Because I accidentally, like 6 months ago, I accidentally transferred a printable iron onto it. So I never use that side anymore. That's why we want to use the paper to prevent things from transferring to our pressing mats, because if we do that, it can transfer to our projects in the future. We don't want that. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. All right, so let's talk about this tote bag here. So I got this very thin tote bag off of Amazon. It's not like a sturdy thing at all, but it feels, you know, it's supposed to be polyester. So this is what it looks like. It came like with a whole bunch of them. So I mean, maybe if you were like, you know, gifts or something for kids, and this might be appropriate. So this is what it turned out. So it's cute. It's a little bit faded. It doesn't really look as vibrant as I would like. For example, if we compare it with the sock, you can see that it's really quite a bit more vibrant, right? So, I mean, it's okay, and they're very inexpensive. It did transfer, and if it doesn't transfer, you will know. You're going to see. This was the tote bag. So I have a whole blog post on everything that I'm showing you tonight. It's over at jennifermaker.com, so you can see the exact temperatures and how long I pressed it for right over there. So this canvas tote bag was 400 degrees for 90 seconds. So, okay. So that's that. All right, so this is a tote bag I got from Michael's last night when I went out to get more infusible ink because I ran out. I saw this here. It said it was made of 70% polyester, 30% cotton. So I thought, hey, why not? It wasn't expensive. It was on sale. I thought we would try it. I pressed it at 400 degrees for 70 seconds. All right, so this is what happens. That's basically a mess now. So what I saw happen is that it melted. So see here where it's kind of, it's like the ink didn't transfer out. It's actually kind of bubbled up. And when I took it off, when I took off the paper, it was all depressed, just like this. Even though I actually had, I had this mat, I had it down like this. And I had my paper on, of course, and I actually took this mat and I stuck it inside. I actually had several of them inside. So it was really as flat as I could get it. And it felt pretty good. It still didn't work. I feel that this is not a melt resistant material. Okay, so don't get these thinking it's going to work. I realize they're inexpensive and they look cheap. I mean, they look cute. They don't actually look that cheap. They're cute enough. But it did not work. And again, this is a tote bag from Michaels. I found it like in the back of the store. Okay, so let me show you some other things. I bought this, and I'm sure that you know why I bought this, because I'm like, hey, this looks like the same as that tote bag. I mean, it would go great with this tote bag, right? It's got the same like copper bottom, and it feels like the same material. However, it turns out this is actually cotton. This is cotton, not polyester. I didn't check the label. Always check the label. This is a little pouch that I got from Michaels that seemed like the same as the tote bag. Now, of course, we already know the tote bag didn't work, but let me show you what happened. So I've actually kept this transfer sheet on so that you can see it, because I wanted you to see the scorching. Okay, do you see how that yellow that is? This is what we don't want. And this happened because cotton, right? It just burned, it scorched. So this is bad. This doesn't look good. And this is what it looked like. So it's super faded. It probably wouldn't last long if it got wet at all. Or if you washed it, I bet it would just wash right away. So this was a total failure, which is too bad because it would have been totally adorable. But this didn't work. So this little pouch also came from Michaels, along with these two. So avoid these two. They do not work. Okay. All right. So that's that. And then one more thing. I had a request for wood. So this is a wood blank that I got at Michaels. I actually got it for a different project, but I thought we should use it for this because it's a nice light color. So, and light colors are what we want. And it's very smooth. There's no, it's not rough at all. So it seemed like a good thing to try. Okay. So let me show you what happened. So I left this one on so that you could see as well. So this is what happened. I actually did this twice, guys. Okay. So this is what happened when I did it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't even see like a little ghost of anything there. It does not work on wood. Maybe it's possible that we could find some kind of coated wood that it would work on, but I did a little research into whether you could do sublimation ink transfers to wood, and the general consensus was no, without some kind of coating. And for the most part, people couldn't really find coatings that would work consistently. So I would say no to wood. You want to put something on wood, use vinyl, or get a wood burner and wood burn something onto it, but probably vinyl. Lots of people put vinyl on wood and it works really well. And you can put either adhesive vinyl or heat transfer vinyl onto wood. And yeah, so, you know, and I don't think that, I'm just not sure if sealing it would make a difference. It's possible, but I didn't have a chance to like actually seal it and let it dry. So I'm not sure. If anyone tries sealed wood, like with some, like say polyurethane, let us know if that works. As I say, I make mistakes so you don't have to. All right, so yeah, so this is this. All right, so I think I've gone through, oh, I wanted to show you one other thing. So I'm not going to go through my whole t-shirt thing tonight because we would be here a long time and I'm not going to do that to you. But I am planning to do a video on t-shirts because I know everybody wants to. So this is a t-shirt that I got off of Amazon. It is 100% polyester. It's a Hanes cool dry shirt. Okay, it's women's v-neck. It's fitted. It's a lot shinier than the Cricut ones, but it's nice, you know, if you're into this kind of shirt. And I wanted to show you just as a preview because we're going to do a video on all the t-shirts. I got all the t-shirts. I've got t-shirts 100% polyester, 80%, 60%, 40%, and I've got some cotton too, just so that we can try some things. Okay, so let me show you that it does transfer because I know someone had a question about whether the markers would transfer to things besides coasters and Cricut shirts and stuff. So let me show you that I did a test and it turned out awesome. So this is obviously this is just a test. This is my heart mandala design, the one that I put on my coaster, and you can see how beautifully this marker transferred. It looks really, really nice. So no issues at all. This is a great shirt. This is again, I got this off Amazon. I'm sure you could get other places, but it's the Hanes Women's Cool Dry, and it's 100% polyester. So again, I will be doing a video on all of the t-shirts because I know you guys are really curious. And what I'll actually be doing is I have a plan. I'm going to take this rainbow sheet here with the black flowers, and I'm going to put this one on all the shirts so we can see what it looks like on every shirt and compare it. And we can also put it onto, I got different colors of shirts as well, guys. So we can put this onto other shirts so that you can see exactly how it looks on a pink shirt or a blue shirt or a purple shirt or whatever, right? So this is going to be an upcoming test. All right, I have come to the end for everything except for the Sequin pillowcase. So this one here I did this weekend for my niece Natalie's graduation. So that is like a reversible one with like it's like transparent rainbowish iridescent sequins, and it looks the same on either side, just so you know. So I mean, it like went through, so when you moved the sequins you could see it, the design on the other side. So this is not just whatever sequins that you got from wherever. This is actually a sublimation blank. So these sequins have a coating on them to allow it to accept ink. Okay, so don't just, you're welcome to try anything. Just keep in mind that it might melt, okay? I don't know what sequins are normally made out of. I mean, I feel like they're something metal or something metal coated, but I'm not actually sure. But again, this is the reversible kind, so we can do this to it, right? So what I'm hoping is that we're going to be able to put our image onto the white side, and then I'll be able to do this, and the image will mostly or all disappear. That's what I'm hoping, because the other one didn't. But I think it's because of the kind of sequence it is, all right? So, and I'm going to use this gold because it kind of looks like a rose gold, so I think it'll match. If I were a different person, maybe I'd use a leopard, but I think that's just going to be too busy. So we're going to go with the gold. So, and I'm just going to do my heart and my name because that's what we've been doing, and we're going to just stick with that, and it's very pretty, and I like it. And I'm going to head over to Cricut Design Space. Okay, so I'm going to click on New Project. Let's go to my projects. Yes, I have all my test things here. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to customize that and move these things around. All right, so I want to focus on this heart here. All right, so this pillow is like 14 by 14. Now my easy press is 10 by 12. So I don't want this to be any bigger than like 11 inches. Any bigger than 11, and it's going to be hard to know where the edges are, and I might accidentally get one wrong. So I'm just going to change this to 11 inches wide and make sure that everything is attached, which it is. And I'm going to go ahead and click Make It. Okay. And there it is. That's awesome. Now, very, 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 very important, guys. Do not forget to mirror your image. Don't forget to mirror your image. So we go right here to mirror. Ask me why I had to go out to Michael's yesterday to get more Infusible ink. Could it be because I forgot to mirror my image? Yes, it could. It could totally be that I forgot to, and then I cut out all my stuff wrong. Okay, so I have mirrored this, and now we just go to continue. All right, so I'm going to connect my air. I'm going to make this just even a little bigger because it feels small right now. Okay, we're going to click on Browse All Materials, and we're going to search on Infusible to get our transfer sheet. So there it is, Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet. Now, the little note reminds us to make sure that we've mirrored it, which we have. We can just double check. It says Mirror On right over here on the left. Now, I almost always change my pressure to more. However, I want to caution those of you with makers because I've been hearing some people say that when they cut it out on the makers, it's cutting too strong. And if you're having that issue, come to my Facebook group at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters. And I have a thread going about ways that I can help you not have your infusible ink transfer sheets cut all the way through on your maker, okay? So just always do a test, but I know that this setting works for me. So this is all good to go. So I'm going to switch back to you so that you can see the surface. There we go. Okay, let's set this aside for now. Let's clear off our workspace a little bit. Get rid of these bad things because those are just really ugly. Okay, so we're going to use this one. All right, so the Cricut Infusible Ink transfer sheets come in these boxes, which I'll be totally honest with you. I've decided well, the boxes look really nice, and they stack nicely, and it's like really attractive packaging. I don't really like the packaging. I'll just be totally honest, because it's kind of a pain to get into. But whatever. I guess this is just the way it is. So, and it comes in this black plastic. If you're wondering what this is for, it's to keep it out of light, because these are light sensitive. I don't think they're crazy light sensitive, but like if they were in a storefront in direct sunlight, it could be a problem. So they put them in these black sleeves. And then in each box of transfer, you either have 2 or 4 sheets of the transfer material. They also give you butcher paper, a little reminder of what to do, and something to test on. So use this, test with it. Please, guys, do not take your sheet and this is your first time and just start cutting out a giant design on it. Please test. The Cricut Infusible Ink material is not inexpensive, and I don't want to hear about people wasting it because they had a problem. I know there's always things that are beyond our control, but we can always test. So test. You guys know how much I like to test things. Put them back into your box because you want to keep them away from moisture and you want to keep them away from light. So store them back in the boxes with all your stuff. I mean, you could also put them in your bag, but if you're going to keep them in a dark place like I am, it doesn't matter, I don't think. So I'm sure it's also a moisture barrier. So if you live somewhere that's humid, you might want to use that bag. Okay, so we want to use our green standard grip mat. And this has a pattern, a gradiated pattern. So my design is wider than it is longer. So it's going to look better if I put it on like the mat like this. So always think about that if you have like one of the rainbow patterns or something, so that it's going to look, you know, as good as it can. In fact, we should probably make sure that our image is centered on this. So, you know, we're seeing the gradation. So always pay attention to your pattern if you have a pattern like this. All right, so open up the Cricut and we're going to load this in. And I've been doing a lot of cutting, so I'm just going to make sure that my blade is clean. And I'm going to use my little ball of aluminum foil, and I just depress the plunger and I just poke the ball. And if I have any little bits of paper or vinyl or whatever on the blade, this will help me. Also, if it got oxidized at all, this will clean that off. So this is how I have not had to change my blade in over a year, guys. I clean it like that pretty frequently. Okay, so this is ready to go. Let's just make sure I have mirrored everything. Yes, my mirror is on. I am not going to do that again. Actually, I'm sure I will do that again. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this out. The fine point blade is in here. The paper is on the mat. It doesn't take too long to cut this out. So let me look for questions. Lisa was wondering where the little white cloth you found came from. Now you know. Yes, it's a test cloth. Yes, let me scroll up and see if there's any more questions. Oh yes, while we're waiting, we need to turn on our heat press. So let's go to my blog post, shall we? Mermaid sequin pillowcase. 360 degrees for 120 seconds. So I'm going to turn this on. I'll move it over here so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn this on, and I am using the Easy Press 2, but you can use the Easy Press 1. The one that I did this weekend, I used the original Easy Press 4. Because I just got this one. All right, so 360 for 120 seconds, was that right? Let's double check. 120 seconds, yes. So that's a long time, but that's what worked before. All right, there we go. So we need to let that warm up, heat up. Set this over here, put it away. Always be careful with your easy press. Don't want to get burned. And we're gonna wait for this. Terry said, ink side up and mirror image all the time with Infusible Ink, ? Yes. You always put it with the ink side up, not the other side. Let's see if I have one here I could show you. This is what we used for the backpack. So you can, when the carrier side says Cricut Infusible Ink and you can read it. It's not backwards. This is the side. This is the ink side. And the Cricut Infusible Ink, if it looks like this, because this is a layered image, it would be backwards. So you want to put it like this on your mat when you're cutting it, and this when you're like pressing it, right? So the ink, so you cut it with the ink side up and you press it with the ink down. Which makes sense, right? Okay, so this is cut out. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but see there's the image. So flip your mat over and peel it off like this. It's always just so much easier to do it like this than the other way around. Put your mat back under your Cricut or wherever you like to store it. Now, I am really big into saving all of my scraps of Cricut Infusible Ink sheets because they're not inexpensive, and who knows when I might need a piece of something again. So I'm going to cut off the extra that I don't need, and I can cut this again, this part that was not cut. I can use it for some other project. Barbara says, do you mirror everything even though it's not text? You want to mirror everything if it's matters what the orientation is. So if it matters to you, then yeah, you want to mirror it. But if it's like, you know, like my mandala, which is the same either way, then I didn't need to mirror that. Just generally, just remember, mirror your Infusible Ink projects. Just make it a habit. Kimberly asks, do you move your wheels to the side? So you might notice that my wheels are all the way over right now. That's only because I moved them over there back in December and never moved them back, because apparently I don't need them. So no, you do not need to move your wheels over for Infusible Ink transfer sheets. All right, so to weed the sheet, we want to do what Cricut calls cracking, and that's where you just kind of roll it, and you'll hear like a little cracking noise. Let's see if I can get it to make that noise for you. As it lifts up off the transfer paper, it'll make like a kind of noise. And that's what they mean when they say cracking. Really what you're doing is you're just going along making sure that all the edges will kind of like lift up for you. And I have at this point made a lot of Infusible Ink projects, so I feel pretty good about weeding. So that's what I find works. It's just kind of going around, and I'm not creasing the paper. That's important to note, but I am rolling it, and I'm rolling it in different directions. Right, so I also roll it like this. You see how the letters are just barely lifting off there? That's going to make it so much easier when I go to pull this off. So same thing on the other side. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I just lift up from like one of the edges where it was cut, like right here, and then I just start peeling it off. Like it just comes off. I haven't actually needed to use my weeding tool in a few days. I've gotten to the point where I can weed this without a weeding tool at all. All right, so sometimes it rips right here, but this is not where the part that matters. So don't let that worry you. And then when you do things like letters, you just want to make sure that they're all, you know, sticking there as you pull them up. I have pulled up many versions of this now. So you just go slow so that you don't accidentally pull your letters up. This is not too dissimilar from, and you can like make sure, kind of go like this to make sure that you're getting all those edges. It also helps to, where's my scissors? Especially with these big projects like this, I find it helps to just trim away some of the extra because it'll like kind of want to restick itself to the carrier sheet, and that's just kind of a pain. So I will trim it as I go. If it starts to tear here, first of all, it's not going to be a big deal, but you can, if you crease it here, you're going to be able to get it off a lot easier. And the reason why I say it's not a big deal if you have a little bit of a tear there is because there's no ink on that section that's left over. So it's not a big deal or anything. I know someone did one recently where it just didn't really cut as well as she wanted it to cut, or as we would all like it to cut. And but it wasn't really a big deal because she still had clean edges. Let me cut this off. All right, so I'm almost done. And there's a little bit of the E. We don't want to pull that off. Tracy says, what can you do with the leftovers? Yes, so these leftovers here, you can totally save these and you can attempt to stick them to your mat, again, like a piece of mat or whatever. Or you could just cut them on your mat. Like I've done it. I've cut them, just stuck them on my mat, but you're going to have to change your pressure a little bit. You're going to need it to be a little less. But you can definitely just cut these parts that don't have the carrier sheet too. Oh, my letter F is missing. Greg says my letter F didn't come off. Thank you, Greg. Would have had to go hunting for that. Okay. Or probably someone else, someone mentioned it online. I just didn't see it. It's hard to watch the screen. All right, so there's my F. There we go. And then we have to get rid of the centers. And notice I don't have to use a weeding tool. I'm just bending the sheet, and then they come right off. And if these really bug you, you can use like a knife, but they're not going to transfer. It's not going to be a problem. And then the wings are also hollow. So same thing. You just peel all of this off like this. And this one. Just, if you're getting those edges cracked, it's going to come off a lot easier. I am talking while I do this, so trust me when I say I did a better job when I wasn't talking to everybody earlier today. I was just whipping through these. Okay, so there is our design. Note that it's mirrored. It's very important that it's mirrored. Okay, so also we're not going to worry about these little bits of paper that are left here. It should be fine. But if they worry you, they bug you, because I understand that everyone has different tolerances for things like this, you can just take your knife and you can just, finish the cut. It just didn't cut as well right there. And then you can just peel it right off. I can get my fingernail under it. Whatever. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right? There. So I just use the knife. And you can just do that, but it'll be fine. Okay. Now it's time to actually do this. We've got our Easy Press turned on. We're going to use our Easy Press pressing pad. Little white fuzzies on it. And a sheet of white cardstock, 80-pound cardstock. The reason why we use this is to avoid this. Avoid transferring any image to our pressing pad. Because if we do this, not only does it ruin our pad, but we might then transfer this to one of our other projects, and then we would have a mistake with both of them. So use the paper. Use the paper, okay? Protect your surface. Okay, and then we need, set this over here. And then we need our blank. So we're going to do our sequin pillowcase. And I want to do it with a zipper at the bottom because that's what makes sense, right? Where's the zipper? I think it's here. Yes, here's the zipper right here. That's a zipper. All right, so we want to make sure that all of our sequins are turned over, because this is one of those sequins, the reversible kind, because if they're not turned over, they won't be able to transfer the image. So if you have to, just come in here and flip them over by hand. Make sure they're all turned over. Does that look good? Did I get everything? It looks like it. All right. We don't preheat this or anything like that. Let me bring up my instructions on my blog post. So again, switch to my screen. I put the instructions for what I did. So 360 degrees for 120 seconds. Now I want to know if you want to do both sides, because you can do this side as well. You guys might not be able to see it, but you can do the reverse side of this. You want to do the sequin side first. Okay. So do the sequin side first, and you can flip it over and you can do the non-sequin side. All right. And then I actually got the directions for this I did like a search for, let's see, what was it called? Reverse sequin sublimation. And then I got like someone's handy PDF. And this is what I followed. Okay. Google is your friend. You can find so much online about what, like for example, one of the ways that I find to determine how long I press it and for what temperature is by looking at the comments on Amazon to see what other people have actually used an item and had results with. So there's lots of information out there when you look. All right, so this says to put 2 pieces of plain paper on your heat press. It's the same reason that we're protecting this. And they want us to tape our image to the pillowcase with heat tape. So let's do that. So here is our image. Let me switch it back over so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're gonna tape this where I want it to go. So I want it to be roughly in the center. Just gonna kind of eyeball it. This looks pretty good. When in doubt, by the way, for those of you who've always wondered about this, things tend to look a little better, easier on our eye when you have a little bit more space at the bottom than on the top. So if you're ever in doubt, that is like a design trick that I have been using for like 25 years, and it works really well. So a little bit more space on the bottom just looks better to everyone's eye. So it doesn't have to be a lot, just a little. And the reason why we want to tape it down, even though it's stuck really well, you can see this, right? It's stuck really well. We want to tape it down because if it shifts at all after we've done this, I'm going to use just a little bit, actually, not too much. That's way too much. If it shifts at all, it's going to cause ghosting. And I can show you an example of that because I had one shift on me when I was doing this. Just a little bit, just to keep it in place, because sometimes when we press it and we're all done and lift up our paper, it'll kind of move just a little bit. We did not want that. That bums me out when I do that. And it always happens when I forget. By the way, this is Cricut tape. This is the Cricut heat resistant tape. Let me show you what I'm talking about for one of them that moved. So I can find it. Oh yes, here it is. Okay. So this one here, can you see at the edges here how it's got like a little faint line there? That happened because it moved ever so slightly and I didn't tape it down. I mean, it still looks good, but the edge is not as crisp. Like here, the edge looks really crisp, but here it doesn't. Okay? Tape your stuff down if it's not sticking or not sticking well enough. Just do that. Okay, so now we have our image down, and then we want to, let's see, I'm just making sure I get everything right. We've taped our image down, and we want to put paper on top of this to protect it. Okay, now, and I mentioned at the start of this video that I have been doing 2 sheets of butcher paper. So butcher paper comes in the boxes. I bought a roll of it so that I could use as much as I needed. And I have been using 2 sheets because I'm finding that it's helping me with scorching. And I have plenty of it, so I'm using 2. Now, one thing that we have to be careful of when we do this, we want to make sure our heat press is going to be on, we want to make sure our heat press is, actually I just noticed, this is not centered and it's going to drive me nuts. There's like 2 inches here and 3 inches here. I got to fix it now. Sorry guys. So, in fact, pull that up and just slide this over a little bit. If you're in doubt about something being in the right spot, use a ruler. I'm being lazy right now and not using a ruler. Okay, there we go. That looks centered to me. And it looks straight. What do you think, Greg? Does this look straight and centered to you? Okay, thank you. All right, there we go. All right, so all stuck down and taped down. Okay. Kelly says, should the cardstock also be in between the layers of material, like inside the bag or shirt? So I didn't use it. I didn't put it inside last time, and there was no transfer to the other side. In the case of this project, no. However, when in doubt, just stick the paper in there, and then you don't have to worry about it. So, but the instructions didn't say that I had to, so I didn't do it. And it did not transfer. I think these sequins are really pretty strong and thick, and they don't transfer through. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my butcher paper on. I'm finding that it's hard to see the edges of where my design is, and I always want to make sure my iron is, my easy press is over that design. So I'm going to mark it right now. Oops. I'm going to mark it. So I'm just folding it right where the design starts. So you can see right here is you see that? That's where the wing is. I put a fold there on my paper. Now when I put my easy press on, I'm going to make sure that it overlaps that just a little bit so that I don't accidentally have it shifted, because this is a big design. Okay. All right. So I am going to now press it at 360 degrees for 120 seconds. And I want to note the instructions say do not use a Teflon sheet. Teflon sheets can, like, I know some people like to use them for heat presses, but some people, my understanding is that Teflon sheets can, you can transfer your design to them and then it's ruined. And you can also introduce moisture if you use a Teflon sheet. So use butcher paper. And yes, you want butcher paper, not freezer paper, not wax paper, not parchment paper. You want butcher paper. You can get it on Amazon. I have a link to it on one, and I think in every tutorial that I've done, I have a link to this big giant roll of it. It's really inexpensive. Use butcher paper. I don't want to see you guys getting wax transferred or scorch marks from not using butcher paper. Okay. All right. So Jenny asks, did you press the sequins before? No, I do not need to press this. This is it's not a material where we have to worry about getting rid of the moisture or making it non-wrinkly. It's obviously a very textured material. What I did do was make sure all of my sequins were white, right? They're all flipped over white, so that we don't have like a little dot that was flipped over to rose gold and then it didn't transfer. Okay, so make sure all of your sequins are white. Okay, so 2 layers of butcher paper. That's what I recommend. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press it now, guys, and I'm going to answer some questions while we're doing that. So again, I have this set at 360 degrees for 120 seconds. And I'm going to make sure that I line up my press right here on this fold. All right. And when you do it, press it straight down. Press your button. And it's just light pressure. I mean, you don't have to press down on these. Just want to make sure that your easy press is covering your whole image, right? You can't do it in pieces. Well, I mean, you can. It's just not going to look good, guys. Okay, you're going to have variable things if you move your press around or you wiggle it. That's when you're going to get the ghosting and everything. So butcher paper, not freezer paper. Guys, not freezer. Freezer paper has a wax or plastic coating on it. You do not want to transfer that. It will transfer to your shirt and it could scorch it. Don't use it. Just buy the butcher paper. Use the butcher paper. Somebody asked if you could use an oven to do the coasters. You know, I don't think it would work. I think it would be, I haven't tested it. I just feel like it would be a problem. Okay, this is done. We're going to lift up straight, just like this. We don't have to worry about it moving because we taped it down, remember? Because as you lift it up, it's really easy for your cord to like nick the side of this paper. And if you didn't tape it down, that would mean that your image is moving. Now remember, with Infusible ink, when we heat it up, it turns into a gas and it seeps into our material. And then as it cools down, it solidifies. So that means if we move it while it's super hot like this, we're going to get like the weird smudgy things because it's still a gas, right? So don't do that. We can, however, remove this butcher paper. And here it's cooling off. So now, interestingly, the instructions for the Sequin pillowcase is to remove the image right away, not to wait. So those of you who watched my other videos know that I was waiting because Cricut's instructions say to wait until it's cooled entirely. And so we were using the thermometer to check the heat and the temperature and everything. I don't even know where my thermometer is. Oh, here it is. But I'm not going to wait. We're still going to look and see. So these things are really useful. So right now it's 224. But the instructions say to go ahead and remove it. They do, however, want you to make sure that you can touch it without burning. Always do that. If it's too hot to touch, you should just wait. Right now it is kind of hot. And because we taped it down, we have to touch here. So we're going to wait just a little bit longer. Julia says, I did this today, and when I removed the paper, there was a horrible smell. So yeah, there's definitely times I've noticed a strong smell. Other times, not so much. It's interesting. I think it has to do with the material that you're using. Like when I did the wood, I expected to smell the smell of wood burning, and I didn't, which was really interesting. All right, so how are we doing here? This feels like it's cooled off pretty well, so I think I can take this tape off here. You're going to want to do this carefully because if it's still hot, you could still have the ghosting issue. Let's see. Let's come from the side here. Awesome. All right. Just kind of pull that off. These sequins are not going to pull off on you. Look at that, guys. Isn't that so cool? So this is what it looked like on the other side. Look, you can totally see the sequins. That is so cool. That is really cool. And you can see at the edge here, there were, it's got different colors, and it's actually a really pretty rose gold. Now, Robin says when they did the demos, they were using tweezers to remove the hot paper. I wish they'd get on the same page. I'm so glad you're testing different parameters. So I followed the directions, and I used the tweezers in the beginning too, but I don't know. I don't really need to use them anymore, so that means I stopped. That is totally me. If I don't have to do something, I don't do it, guys. This is who I am. I do not do all the things just because I need to. Anyway, so here we go. We should wrap this video up. So let's see if it worked. I mean, obviously it worked. I want to know if the sequin thing worked. Okay, you ready? Let's see if it disappears when we do it. It totally worked. Look at that. That is so freaking awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with it. Oh, I guess you can kind of see it in this bright light. I, however, cannot. So you guys have this light coming down and shining directly onto it, but from where I'm sitting, I can't see this. So at all, right? So it actually looks really cool. So to the naked eye, it's not visible. It just looks like rose gold. But with this bright light, you can still kind of see it. However, whatever, it looks amazing. This is really cool. So, and it just comes back to your thing. And by the way, you can open the zipper in the bottom to stuff it. And when I did this one for my niece, Natalie, I stuffed it with pillow stuffing and money because she was graduating. So I stuffed it full of money. It was really cool. All right, cool. Two things I want to tell you. For those of you who are playing along with our Cricut Maker giveaway, which I am doing until July 12th, I think it is. So I'm giving away a Cricut Maker and an Easy Press and Infusible Ink materials, a whole bunch of cool stuff. There's a link to that. And you can enter daily for various things. One of the things that you can do daily is put in the word of the day. So the word of the day is blank. Big surprise there, right? Blank. So, because we're testing blanks tonight. So it's just the word blank. That's the word of the day. And I wanted you guys to know that I am going to be away traveling. So I won't be around on Facebook as much as usual. But I'll still be checking in. And next week, I would like to do, if you guys are up for it, I would like to do a play test of the shirts. All the shirts I got, which is like 25 or something nuts like that. I have shirts of varying polyester and cotton counts. and varying colors. And I want to put the same image on every shirt so we can see exactly how they compare with one another. Would you guys like to see that? Because I would like to show you. I think that that would be really useful so that you know what other kinds of shirts work and don't work. Okay, I'm even going to do some black shirts because everyone keeps asking me if you could do a black shirt, and I'm going to show you what a black shirt looks like with the Infusible ink on it. All right, awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight, and I hope that you join me next week for our t-shirt test. And remember, if you can tell me what you want to make, I can show you how to make it. Until next time.